welcome team from Hibiscus and Bays.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to the Deputy Mayor, and the Mayor's not here at the moment, and councillors. I have with me, I think you all know me, I'm Janet Fitzgerald, the Deputy Mayor, and I have with me Chris Bettany, who is a local board member from the East Coast Bays.
Kia ora tātou.
We've come to you today because the resolution of the Hibiscus and Bays Board was that we would endorse the sale of 8 Hiwi Crescent, but we believe that the money obtained for the sale of it should go back into Penlink. And a little bit of history of Penlink itself. The original designation when the land was, number of the properties was being bought up to Arklow Lane, which is above where Hiwi Crescent is, was actually in the original designation of Penlink. And then the road widening projects were set out in separate chunks all the way along Whangaproa Road. And I see one of the arguments here is that it is going to be still a live project, the Whangaproa Road widening, but we still believe sincerely, and it was a unanimous decision of the local board, that the whatever is obtained in the sale of Penlink, of the 8 Hiwi Crescent, goes back into the Penlink project. And that's what we're here today, to ask you to do that, because we don't want it going into just the transport fund, and while whatever is obtained from the sale is only a small amount in the whole mix of Penlink, it's still money that we believe should go back into the Penlink project. And
Thank you, Janet. Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Janet, thank you. When you made this resolution at your board meeting, did any of the staff members give you any barriers as to why what you were suggesting couldn't occur?
no.
Right.
Okay. Further questions of Janet? Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Janet and Chris. Just in terms of Penlink, we know it's I think down for 2025, 28 construction period or thereabouts. Is there work that could be done in the interim along that route? I know, for instance, the council went for a site visit the other day to Waiti, and we were told the first 2 kilometres of the route essentially laid out. So I'm assuming there are maybe sort of works that could be proceeding that would be beneficial to the kind of long-suffering community that this money could be used for. It wouldn't just be sort of academic. There is some uses that it could be put to in terms of a small progress with Penlink, perhaps in terms of planning or some ancillary works. Would that be correct to say that?
Yes, you're quite correct. Even though that it's in the plan for 25, 28, there is, we're hoping that, and the local board have got a resolution that we try to bring Penlink forward. So we believe that money can be spent progressing Penlink today.
Thank you.
Councillor Sayers.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Jen, I was just trying to clarify from the local board's perspective, if to ring fence that money, does that does the local board imagine that going into an Auckland Transport dedicated line item for Penlink, if it exists, or does it go into, or are you asking for it to go into the local board's capital expenditure budget? Just where would you like it to end
No,
up?
we're happy for it to go to Auckland Transport as long as it's earmarked for Penlink.
Thank you.
Councillor Walker and then Mayor.
Sure. Sure, I'm certainly familiar with the area of land, and obviously there's a modest amount of money to come from it, and I understand where you're at around Penlink. Having said that, if we're talking about money being spent in the local area, Whangapara Road doesn't even have footpaths along significant parts of its length. I'll repeat that. Whangapara Road, which is the busiest road arguably in the Hibiscus Coast, doesn't even have footpaths along part of its length, or for that matter, cycleways, safe cycleways. If we're talking about ring fencing for transport, I guess another option is to ensure that that money is spent in the area and maybe spent immediately on things that could benefit people. Is that something that your local board considered as an option?
No, the resolution from the local board is that that as the property was originally acquired for Whangapara Road widening in conjunction with the Penlink project, that the sale proceeds should be transferred to the Penlink project budget.
Janet, Mayor Goff.
Thanks very much, Mr Chairman, and thank you to the Hibiscus local and Bays local board for their presentation. My question, if I may, Mr Chair, is to invite comment from our Chief Financial Officer, because clearly the board will understand that if we were to introduce a policy of ring fencing, it wouldn't apply in one case, it would apply across many cases, and my concern is that that would create some real complications in terms of how you put money aside, particularly small amounts of money aside, to a much larger project that we intend to fund anyway. But if I could, through you, just ask Matthew to make some comments about whether this is possible within our existing policy and the complications that might create, because that was, I think, in answer to Councillor Simpson's comment, something that maybe should have been drawn to the attention of the board by board officers.
And it wasn't.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the chair, and I guess it's just clarifying and reinforcing, but so the transform and unlock policy you have in place at the moment is one of two areas where you've set policies that provide guidelines as to where ring fencing would be appropriate. That's tied into the LTP. There's around 200 million over the 10-year period that's earmarked by way of asset sales and Panuku outside of the transform and unlock, and I guess 8 Iwi Crescent would be one of those opportunities of many through time that need to be considered through this committee to contribute to that target of 200 million over the 10 years. But as we're not talking here about a transform and unlock area, that's what makes this recommendation pretty difficult. The other scenario in which some ring fencing would be contemplated would be around a service asset, and we use the optimisation term, but the idea is that there's a project that could make better use of that service asset through redevelopment and the like. Through the chair, if I may as well, because I understand the local context around the interest in the Penlink project. And it was useful, Jeanette. We had a discussion the other day, and I'm just letting the committee know there is work afoot in transport, and I've got staff supporting that as well, actively looking at how Penlink can occur earlier and how we can accelerate that project. So there's work underway there. It's looking to leverage the existing funding in the plan as well as what we can do with the tolling model. And that's been actively worked at the moment, and I've offered that transport people and perhaps some others can give the local board a briefing over the next 4 to 6 weeks on that.
All right, well, so councillors, in clause 4 of the report on page 13, the last sentence there, I'm sure Anthony will come and verify how that advice was provided, which is actually against what Janet is saying. So there are no further questions, so thank you very much, Janet. Thank you. board
Thank you.
member, and